Hello fellers, it's been a while. I have been away from YouTube for about 8 months now, and I have missed it greatly. But I have been focusing on other things, life calls, and you have to answer. So that's definitely not, wink wink, an excuse to not post for the past 8 months. But here we are back, and I wanted to talk about something that is a bit nuanced, but I think is extremely necessary for people to consider in today's day and age. So, noise, right? What is noise? Nowadays, the noise that we encounter isn't so much noise coming from sound waves as it is noise that interrupts our way of thinking, our way of life. Now, we know the sort of society we live in nowadays, right? You can't walk 2 steps without seeing an ad somewhere, right? You can't go on social media without seeing 150,000 different opinions in one search, right? So, that noise that I'm talking about is in our face. On a day-to-day basis, we encounter it all the time. And I think very few people understand the effects that this noise has on our thinking, our life, our mood, our thought process, right? And so that's sort of what I want to focus on in this video. I think it's time we become more conscious about what we take in, about the noise. See, human beings are meant to think about very few things at a time. And I think now we're trying to grasp at many different things at the same time and trying to process them all. And so we end up living in a mentally exhausted culture where everyone's mentally exhausted all the time. It weighs down on relationships, on friendships, right? And it makes life a lot more heavy than it needs to be. When we go on social media, which most people nowadays are on social media, especially in first world countries. Here in the West, we spend a lot of time on social media. And it is a very, very unnatural thing, if you really think about it. Nowadays we have scroll, right? A scroll section for most apps. Where we click on a video, and the next video we scroll on, it's a completely different idea. Completely different topic, completely different subject. Now, we have been disillusioned by this idea of a For You page, right? Where people say they build it brick by brick, where they've curated it to their own liking, so it's a consistent line of ideas. But even so, it's still different pieces of content, different pace, different messages every single time, and we do that at a rate of seconds. Now that's not good long term for the human brain, and I can't explain the science behind it, but that's just my suspicion. That's not good for us. And if we train our brains to take information in like that, then who knows what effects it might have, right? Certainly, our way of thinking changes. Our neural pathways are completely rewired, and we no longer know ourselves. I'm afraid that is the case with most people nowadays, which is why I've taken conscious steps to get away from the noise, to really focus, be in the zone, and figure out who I am as a person. Not on some, weird self-improvement thing, but more so just to be a regular human, Very few people understand who they are, what they like, what environments they thrive in, what situations they know they would suffer in, right? Very few people know those things. I think it's because we've drowned out our own thoughts with so much noise. We can't bear to think for ourselves, right? To just be quiet, nothing, silent, focused, living life as it is, bringing our dopamine levels all the way back down. It's being regular human beings. I think we have lost the ability to be by ourselves. And it's made actual friendships a lot less attractive because of all the noise. We've trained our brains to take in information and entertainment at such a rate that no human being can keep up with that. How is a singular person going to be more entertaining than your thousands of options of entertainment on your given feed. That's impossible. And so subconsciously, I think people want relationships. They want to reach out. They want to have those connections. But it's difficult because their brain, which they're not aware of at a conscious level, is completely rewired. So consciously, we want these connections. We want friendships. We want intimacy with people. But subconsciously, on a scientific level, our brain doesn't find that attractive anymore because we have a different alternative. And being on social media, and this is not a video to bash social media, although it is, right? I mean, it's a difficult thing to talk about because you talk about it and then, you get the feeling it's like, I'm just bashing social media. But I'm not bashing social media as such, right? It's useful. Everyone knows that. But I think at the same time, everyone knows that in the background, it's doing a lot more damage to society. And I mean that word literally. To our social way of living, right? So although it's useful, I think on a person-to-person basis, it is doing a lot more damage for our society and for our culture. And I think the main culprit is just the noise. Not necessarily one sort of information, one sort of celebrity, one sort of channel, but more so just the abundance of it all. The noise drowns out our own thoughts. It drowns out our own humanness. And I think if we made a conscious effort to step away from that, then we could really begin to enjoy life again. We could really start hitting it up with the homies again. And find fulfillment and actual joy in that. Right? How funny is it that nowadays we hang out and the highlight of the hanging out is to be able to post about it later. Right? The actual dopamine we get is to be able to post about it later and not actually to be in the moment with the people. That might seem like, it's just a thing, technology, people are adapting. But if you think about that, that should scare the living daylights out of you, in my opinion. Why is it that we find more fulfillment? And this might just be me. I might just be talking to myself right here. But it seems to me that a lot more people find joy in being able to tell the story about their hanging out than actually hanging out. I think that's a sign of what's gone on at a mental level for so many years, right? Our brains have been rewired without our consent. And again, it's hard to find a person to blame, right? Because the algorithms for these different platforms are developing day by day. But at some point, we have to take responsibility for our life, the sort of lives we want to live. And if you want to have true human connection, true friendships, and a genuine experience, positive and joyful in every way on this earth, then we're going to have to take drastic measures to change that. And I say the first step is to get away from the noise. I'm happy to be back. Really excited to post this video. There's going to be a lot more to come. This journey is just getting started, and my apologies for being away for so long, but I'm looking forward to spending more time with you guys and putting out the valuable content that I think you deserve. Thank you for watching. My name is Corbin Archgraham, and this is Corbin Conversations. Seek on. Peace.